Hello everyone! So I recently bought this Saab that has been off the road since 2012. It is clear that since then it didn't receive a lot of care, but that is about to change in this episode. Before fixing this thing, I feel like it is important to give the car a good clean to make our wrenching experience a bit more enjoyable. Prepare for an episode filled with foaming, scrubbing, and satisfying before and afters.
All my friends, yellow rider.
Hello everyone and good morning. I woke up really early because I want some nice shade to be washing the Saab in. For those of you who haven't watched my previous video, I have bought this Saab 900 and it is pretty disgusting. So this episode I wanted to start by giving it a good clean before we start working on it. This 1991 Saab 900 was sitting in a greenhouse when I bought it. Using the last number plate that was on the car, I did a check with the Belgium version of the DMV and it told me that the car has been off the road for 10 years. Looking at the state of this poor Saab, I can definitely believe it. Aside from the rust and bodywork related issues, it is looking horrible due to the caked on layer of grime and dust that covers the entirety of the car. It seems like chalky deposits trickled down from the roof of the greenhouse, making the paint feel very dry and rough. In an effort to prevent mold on the inside of the car, the previous owner stored it with the windows partially opened. And although that has worked decently, it made it very easy for some crawly creatures to make a nice home in the interior, and I am sure that we'll encounter some of them in the making of this video. The engine compartment shares the same dusty fate as the paintwork, and the surrounding moldings have been great at collecting green waste. I think that about sums up the poor state of this car, but it is finally time to do something about it. So I'm rolling up the windows and firing up the pressure washer to blast away as much of the filth as possible. Before pressure washing the engine bay, I covered up the intake and the alternator for obvious reasons. Then I covered it in a degreaser that I let soak for 10 minutes. With the pressure washing session done, I am pushing the car forward to make sure that it is in the shade for the next step in the cleaning process. You can clearly see that we've already blasted away a ton of dirt, but the car still is fairly filthy, so now I am pulling out the foam gun. After thoroughly soaking the paint in soap, I am letting it sit for a bit to loosen up as much of the dirt as possible before agitating it with a wash mitt and a brush. In normal circumstances, I would be using 2 buckets to protect the paint, but in this case it is so trashed that it doesn't matter. After one pass I can still find some dirty areas, so I'm going over it with the foam gun once more and repeat the process until it is squeaky clean. After drying it, it looks heaps better than before, but the paint still has a lot of contamination in it. In this area, for example, there is a brown spot that is the result of rusty water sitting onto the paintwork. I am curious to know if I can get that out, so I'm quickly using a clay bar to see the result. The stain is almost completely gone and the paint is actually starting to shine, so there is some potential here. But we are going to handle the paintwork later in this episode. The first part of the cleaning on the outside is done, and I think now I'm going to focus on the inside a little bit. We're going to start with a quick vacuum of everything that I can reach, and then we're going to take out the seats. Pretty quickly the front seats were in my way, so I decided to take them out immediately. Ooh, coupon. While vacuuming the doors, I have to be really gentle because the fabric is releasing from the door cards. Then to clean the rest of the panel, I am using an interior cleaner in a spray bottle and a brush to agitate the dirt. Once everything is loosened, I scoop it up with a towel to remove it. On some panels I had to do that multiple times because the years of caked on junk did not want to give up easily. A good example of that is the steering wheel. Look at the yellowish color the cleaning agent is turning into. Very disgusting. The emblem in the wheel was also turned upside down, so that needed to be fixed pronto. I have this old radio laying around and I'm just going to throw that in there to fill up this ugly hole. Next, I wanted to see if it was easy to pull out the rear bench, and under it I found another nice surprise. In both corners there are large patches of rust forming, which is not great to say the least. When folding down the rear seats, the mother of all spiderwebs revealed itself, so I decided to take care of it from inside of the trunk. The trunk panel hid all kinds of goodies and unfortunately another portion of rust as well. I vacuumed the entire trunk and then I evicted what is hopefully the last of the 8-legged inhabitants. I think for now I am pretty satisfied with how the inside of the car is looking, and then hopefully tomorrow I can borrow the shampoo machine at work and then I can clean all the carpets and the seats even more, and once that is done they can go back into the car. It is now day 2 of cleaning the Saab and I actually managed to borrow the carpet cleaner from work, so we are going to give all the fabrics inside of the Saab a thorough clean. A carpet cleaning machine can really work wonders in interiors, so I am curious to see the result. First, I'm using the internal sprayer to spread the cleaning agent over a small section. Next, I'm using a stiff bristle brush to loosen all the filth embedded in the carpet fibers. With all of the dirt laying on the surface, the vacuum can suck all of it up, revealing a clean surface underneath. The result after just one pass is insane, so next I am doing the same on the seats and the carpets. I have remounted the seats and I think that currently wraps up the inside of the car. Once we are done with the entire project, I'll give you a look into the car to see the result. But now we are going to focus on the paintwork, because as you can see, although it is clean, there still is a lot of oxidation inside of the paint, and I'm going to try to get it out with a bit of compounding and polish. There is a nice vertical line going over the hood, and we are going to use that as a guide to make a divider with this tape, and that way we can see a before and after. First, I'm going over it with a piece of detailing clay to pick up as much of the contaminants as I can. That already looks heaps better, but now we are going to go for the mirror glaze finish using this compound from Maguire's and a microfiber pad. Wow, not bad for 30-year-old paint. Now let's do the rest of the hood. Next step, some polish and a foam pad. I reckon that is not a bad before and after. The paint came out better than I expected. Although I have to say that I think it has been repainted, because you kind of see a lot of dots everywhere, and I think that is an indication that it has been repainted. Not that it really matters, because yeah, this is here. I also did the roof and that came out better than expected as well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do the entire car. Not that it is really worth it, because yeah, obviously the paint and the body is shot, but I don't really have a lot of experience polishing stuff, and I think a car like this is the best way to practice it. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can improve my skills. And at the same time, the Saab will look a whole lot better. I am done with polishing the paint for now, and some parts came out really good. In other parts there still are a lot of defects, but hey, what can you expect? The next thing that I want to see is if I can get all the trim look a little bit less dry. And we're going to do it with my favorite color restorer, Polytrol. I really like using Polytrol because it has the same effect as an ordinary black trim dressing, but it stays a lot longer. I would advise doing this out of bright sunlight, because the heat sped up the drying process and it made it trickier to wipe away the excess product. The results are simply amazing, and details like this really make a difference to the general appearance of the car. Okay guys, after 2 days of working on the car, I think it is ready, and here is the result. I hope you liked that result. I know I do, and it definitely was worth giving the car a good clean before we are going to start working on it. And speaking of that, in the next episode we are going to attempt to start the car for the first time, so definitely tune in for when that happens. I must admit that polishing the car maybe was a bit unnecessary considering the state of the car, but still I enjoyed doing it. I learned a thing or two, and that is pretty valuable as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to see all of you in the next one. So until next time.